Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Coach Paul Tortorella Show. This is Jack Benedict. We're going to talk IUP Crimson Hawks football with another win for the nationally ranked Crimson Hawks, defeating Edinboro. And, of course, next up will be Seton Hill. We'll be getting to that in just a little bit. Coach, good to have you with us. And let's talk about the win over Edinboro. It was, I guess, maybe like workmanlike. I'm going to put it that way. Would you categorize that some way?
Yes, that'd probably be a good way to describe it. Probably the penalty situation was the most negative thing about the game. We were really efficient offensively. The first two touchdowns we scored were big-time plays by Lenny and both receivers, pitching and catching. And the first one, he was running around and created. And then the second one, put the ball down and away for JoJo, and he made a great catch, and he stayed in bounds, tiptoeing the sideline and scored. So first two touchdowns were really good, skilled plays. Defensively, we had 5 interceptions. So I mean, right there, you're not going to see that very often.
Right.
And we played really good in the red zone and down on the goal line, and blocked a field goal. So they didn't have a lot of yards, but with the penalties, we gave them 5 first downs. And so it made it a little tougher for us defensively, but the 5 interceptions in the red zone defense really saved us.
Mm-hmm. Take a couple of things here. You did not start Samir Bullock. Some people maybe want to know why, and explain it.
He hurt his back against East Stroudsburg, and he didn't practice a whole lot the week of Cheney. He felt better. He played against Cheney. Then he aggravated it in practice this past week. So we were going to really hold him, and it started feeling better, in warm-ups. So we decided to put him in the second quarter because the last 2 days in practice, the other backs had got most of the work. So it was just kind of one of those things.
Yeah. Well, he had 11 carries for 70 yards, average 6 yards a carry. So, that's Samir.
Well, he was fresh because he didn't practice really a whole lot for 2 days.
Yeah, the fresh legs.
Sure.
Then you had another runner in there, too. Lenny ran the ball a little bit more. Now, was that by design or because of the certain situation?
It was really the situation. Couple times he kept on the zone read because they gave it to him. A lot of times, so far this year, they were not letting him keep the ball. And then he ran around. We had a quarterback draw in there that was a big gain. And then he just did a lot of creating again, like he's done in the past, buying time, running around. Our receivers did a great job of getting open off the scramble. And so it was good to kind of get Lenny back in that phase of what his game is.
Mm-hmm. The thing that's interesting, too, with all the receivers you have, he doesn't have to play any favorites, does he? JoJo had 6 receptions. Dom McNeil had 4. Malik had 3. Colby Hughes against his old team had a couple. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't even cover everybody.
Well, he's just getting it to the guy that's open. There's times when we got to have a couple guys open, but if his first read's there, he's taking it. If it's not, he's looking for his next read. A couple plays we ended up making where he threw to a guy that was kind of covered, and we actually had another guy wide open, but the receiver came back for the ball once Dom on a sideline throw, and then he hit Dom on the post, the big post there in the second half. So we kind of sprinkled in a little more of our offense in regards to being a little bit more diverse.
Mm-hmm. What do you do when you get so many penalties? How do you handle that situation? Some are warranted, some are not.
Well, we broke them all down. It's because it's a really frustrating thing, especially on defense and special teams. Because you want to be physical, you want to be aggressive, you want to play hard, but there's a fine line that you can't go over. We thought of the penalties on defense and special team, 3 of them were bad discipline penalties by us. Mm-hmm. There were 3 that we really questioned. It'd be really to tell it like it is. We didn't think they were penalties. And then there were 4 or 5 that you normally get during the game. So when you look at it that way, probably we should have had 6 or 7 penalties. 3 of them were definitely our problems with not being disciplined. Mm-hmm. The other 3 or 4 come with just playing the game. But it was a situation where we were getting flagged for being very aggressive on their quarterback. And both penalties on their quarterback we disagree with. We don't think they're penalties.
You had brought up Nick Amendola a little bit earlier. He had a tremendous game of 14 tackles, 10 unassisted. Lloyd, Damon had 2 interceptions. So your linebackers, they learned a lot. I would think they learned a lot last year because they played a lot.
Well, yeah, but it's now they're in there. I mean, they're in there every play.
Right.
So after 3 games, they're kind of getting their baptism, so to speak. There's practice reps and game reps, and the game reps are really the deciding factor. Now they've had 3 full games together playing, and it showed they both played really well, especially Damon with the 2 interceptions.
Right, yeah. I know you're happy to get your guys back in the secondary, especially you're going to need them again this week, maybe even more so, but how did they do for you coming back?
Well, we were pretty good in the secondary, especially inside with the safeties. Max played really well, had an interception, knocked down a pass
right.
That we ended up intercepting, had another breakup, had a bunch of tackles. He played really well. Takai played pretty well. And, we got Makel back, Mike Petropola, and then we had 3 corners that we were rolling.
Yeah.
So it gave us a little bit of depth also that we're going to need this week coming up against Seton Hill.
Yeah, we'll get to that in just a couple of minutes. Tord, you may explain the red shirt rule because you did use your freshman in Josh Doberman, who was in there. Of course, you have Joe Peterson out. You had to rearrange it. What is the rule now going? I know that's changed over the years.
Well, there's a like a 20% of this. If you play more than 20% of your game, so if you play 11 games, if you play in 2 or more games, you can't be redshirted. Josh Doberman, we were trying to redshirt, but with Joe Peterson's injury, we basically said we're going to have to play him, and we'll play him throughout the rest of the year. He's probably right now our 6th lineman, so he'll play every Saturday. And we didn't have before Joe got hurt, we were able to maybe redshirt Josh. When Joe got hurt, to get a 6th lineman involved, it was Josh. So we basically said we're going to play him the rest of the year.
And you had an opportunity to give some reps on the first team with Ken Roman.
Well, yeah, Kenny started a tackle for Josh, and then, for Joe. And then we played Josh at guard, and we can move Rocco out to tackle. So, and then Barnes is backing up inside also at guard. So we feel like now with Joe out, we have about a 7-man rotation that we can use. With Joe back, it'll be 8.
Give us an update. I know this is a stand-pat question every week about injuries. Fans want to know. We want to know. Give us a little bit of an update of who might be ready this week and who may not be.
Really, this is as healthy, we think, going into the Seton Hill game as we've been all year. We have a really good chance of getting Woosner and Walt Pegues back. Dwayne Brown will be back. So really, offensively, the only guy who definitely won't play is Joe Peterson. Swaneek's fine. He got a bruise on his knee, but he'll be okay. On defense, we pretty much have everybody back and should be ready for Seton Hill. So this is really the first game where we potentially could have just about everybody back except Joe Peterson.
Let's talk about Seton Hill. They almost beat Cal. 44-41 was the final score. They're giving up almost 50 points a game. We know they're all offense, so it's a good thing you have all the defensive players back. Probably going to need it,
Well, you're not only going to need cover guys. You're going to need guys that can rush the passer.
Right.
We've got 8 defensive linemen for 4 positions, which is it's huge because you got to give those guys blow because rushing the passer takes a lot out of them. It wouldn't surprise me if Seton Hill tried to throw it 70 times this week, to be honest with you. They have a good scheme throwing the ball. They have good wide outs. Their running back actually was a wide out. He's a good running back, but they use him when they get an empty as a wide out. So, like I said, when you throw for 500 yards against Cal, you can expect the next game they're going to keep throwing it. So that's what we're expecting. Last year, they actually ran the ball a little bit on 3rd and long and caught us a couple times. But when you play Seton Hill, you better rush the passer and not give up big passes. That was the key this week on defense. We only gave up 2 passes over 20 yards. And if you don't give up big plays and you get them to turn the ball over and you play good in the red zone, you don't give up a lot of points. And that's exactly what happened Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Christian Strong is our quarterback. He's thrown for almost 1,200 yards. He has 9 touchdowns, but he also has 9 picks. A lot of times you had no sacks, but we ought to put hurries on this thing, shouldn't you?
Well, we hit the quarterback a lot.
Yeah.
And probably even though they're not going down as sacks, as many hurries and hits we had on the cornerback, probably, I think we looked at the interceptions, 2 to 5 interceptions, he threw the ball early, where we made the interception because he was getting so much pressure. Mm-hmm. We mixed in some blitzes. They try to throw the ball quick in general with their offense, but our pressure started, wearing him out a little bit. I bet you we had 3 or 4 tackles on the quarterback for like a 1-yard gain that really don't go down as sacks because it's not a yardage loss, but it really kind of is when the quarterback only gains a yard.
Yeah.
So
after 4 home games, 4 in a row, are you ready to go on the road?
Well, I mean, if we could petition
you can play them all
the PSAC, we'd play them all at home. We've had 4 great crowds. The weather's been great all 4 days. But, it's time to go play on the road. Our guys have no problem with that. We respect everybody, fear no one. So when we go on the road, we don't have a problem playing on the road. And, we're playing down in Greensburg, so we're hoping to bring George P. Miller over to Greensburg because we've had great crowds. And really this is an away game, but it's, a 40-minute drive from Indiana. So hopefully we'll have a big crowd over there in Greensburg.
Is it tough to play at Offutt Field? It's a little different setting, but still, you're still playing within the boundaries. Maybe the sidelines are shorter, but you're still playing within.
I don't think it's a issue
difference
at all. I mean, it's great for the fans because you're right on top of the field.
Right.
And it's more like, even though it's a high school stadium and they only seat whatever's 5,000, 6,000, it's really like a Division I atmosphere because in Division I they don't have tracks around their fields. So the crowd's right on you in Division I. And, there's barely enough room on the sidelines down there in Greensburg to keep your team back. So it's a different setting, but it's not like something where it's totally abnormal, really. Mm-hmm.
We had talked before we came on. Ashland had a big win over Ferris State, and that should be helpful to IUP. You already beat them. They're 2 really good teams. Beating Ferris State was number 2 in the nation. So I know that's the long, down the road type of situation, but you have to keep things, I guess, in perspective along the way. It's good that you beat a really good team and then they beat a really good team.
Well, we knew it was a good win against Ashland. We knew they were really good. At home against Ferris, I was not surprised at all that they won. They're really good at home. I think they have a 19-game winning streak at home. They're a really good team. And so we knew our win was a really good win against a really good team. And that just kind of shows that we kind of knew what we were talking about, I guess, because they really put it to Ferris. Now, Ferris's quarterback didn't play, but, obviously that plays a role in it. But, a win's a win.
Yeah, exactly. Well, all in all, let's see what happens at Seton Hill. It's a 4 o'clock game. As you mentioned, it's right down the road. We should have some fans down there for IUP.
Yeah, I would expect a good I think we'll travel well. Most of our away games this year are close.
Right.
Matter of fact, we only have one overnight going into the last week of the season up at Mercyhurst. But, traveling to Greensburg, Slippery Rock, Clarion, they're all 1-hour drives. Yeah. So they're away games, but I'm sure we'll have a good following at all those places.
It's going to be a little cooler, too.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be up in the 80s again all the way up till Wednesday or Thursday, and then it's going to drop, and it's supposed to be in the low 60s. So it'll be a nice change.
Yeah, very good. Hey, good luck. Okay.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Jack.
See you all at Greensburg. That's coming up. It's a 4 o'clock game on Saturday with IUP at Seton Hill. We hope you'll join us on the radio and TV sides. And for Coach Tortorella, this is Jack Benedict. Hope you have a nice evening.